Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Live at 4.
It's Friday. I can hear Michael.
Jim's
Michael
not here today. Michael is, so it's not quite as loud, but happy Friday to everyone.
Friday.
Yeah, Bruno is here, and Lowell will be along, and got a good show today.
And we're going to be watching the weather for the weekend. Could get tricky. That's coming up.
But first, here's what's making news on this Friday. A major earthquake rocks Anchorage, Alaska, shaking buildings and damaging roads. We will have a late-breaking report.
State Republican lawmakers say they will call a lame duck session next week, trying to make changes before a Democratic governor is sworn in. Rose Schmidt will join us live from the Capitol.
And Madison isn't the only place experiencing cases of Legionnaire's disease. Madeline O'Neill looks into those numbers.
Let's take a look outside today. Gray and cold to start the weekend, but no precipitation.
This sort of sums it up.
Oh, is that the Overpark Hill?
Yeah, I
wow,
think so.
Good for him.
Walking up the hill. Yeah, it's kind of wintry out there, and it might be a mess this weekend. Chris Reese is with us in the backyard. All sorts of things headed our way.
That's right. As I like to quote one of my favorite movies in saying, bring your brooms because it's a mess. And that's what we're going to be tracking as we go into the weekend. For one, today's forecast a little bit tricky because the low clouds and the fog kept temperatures cooler. We made it up to 32 degrees today. The forecast high, 38. That 6-degree difference, though, could be crucial as we go into tomorrow morning. I'll be touching on that a bit later. But 31 and pretty cloudy right now. There's that high of 32. Still 4 degrees below where we should be for this time of the year at 36 degrees. We started out this morning at 30, though, so a little bit warmer than average. Temperatures now have come back down. We're at 31 here, 34 as you work your way over towards Janesville. All of us actually are seeing those temperatures in the low 30s. I don't believe I see anyone in the 20s as of now. We'll see more of those 20s across the north later on tonight. I do expect our low to be around 30 degrees. But you look up towards the Twin Cities, it's 30 degrees there, 30 in Austin, Minnesota as well. Here comes the warmer temperatures, though, farther towards the south and west. Des Moines at 38 degrees right now. But we have been watching the system in question come together this afternoon. We don't see a lot on the radar right now, but we see a lot of that bright cloud cover. So that's telling us there is a lot of upward motion in the atmosphere that's leading to that cloud cover. Eventually, that will lead to more precipitation over some of these areas where temperatures will be falling back below freezing. So you do have winter storm warnings throughout all of parts of southern South Dakota there through northern Nebraska, even parts of western Iowa and southwestern Minnesota. Winter weather advisories are included for us in our area in terms of Vernon County and then Adams and Juneau counties there. But for most of us, we are free of those winter weather advisories for now. But that's showing you central and northern Wisconsin where we could see some accumulating snow through the weekend, but we all have that potential for some light freezing rain as well. That's why we have alert days into tomorrow morning, along with alert days into Sunday. It does not look like it is going to be a major snow or winter storm for us, but nonetheless, it could be just enough to cause some minor impacts. We want to make sure that everyone is aware of that. But forecast first for the rest of this afternoon, we will see a lot of that cloud cover. Temperatures, they're already too warm. Expect to shave about 3 to 4 degrees off those temperatures as we go into the evening hours there. And that could, again, be something crucial to watch as we go into the morning. First alert traffic. This is the belt line, right? Well, it was the belt line at Park Street. That has since changed on me. I'll get that fixed. But we are starting to see more of those backups, especially on the eastbound belt line, showing up all the way from Verona Road over towards Monona at the Sour. Downtown, we're starting to see the evening rush hour progress as well, especially as you get towards Park Street, headed down towards Fish Hatchery there. But if you are headed on that eastbound belt line, for sure, make sure that you are planned for a little bit of slowdowns. And of course, we'll track that as we go through the rest of the show as well.
And Chris, a lot of people traveling up to Green Bay for the Packer game on Sunday. Could this be a problem for that?
Yeah, that really could, because by Sunday, I do think we'll get a push of some of that colder air moving into the picture that's going to change things over to snow.
All right, we will see you in just a few minutes to update the situation. Thanks, Chris.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Chris. First at 4, a 7.0 magnitude earthquake shook Anchorage, Alaska this afternoon, shaking buildings and buckling roads.
The quake was felt as far away as 350 miles away in Fairbanks. Mola has the latest.
Water pipes broke, so everything's soaked in here.
The CBS affiliate in Anchorage, Alaska, was both reporting the story and experiencing it.
It was like thunder. It was heavy. It was just heavy sounds. And so the second that started going, and then that violent shaking, just drop down and they're tucked away right here.
The station was left in shambles after the 7-magnitude earthquake rumbled through southern Alaska, centered about 7 miles north of Anchorage.
This thing came on, and within seconds, a matter of just a few seconds, the newsroom looked like that. Things were falling, there was a dust in the air. Every time you were breathing it, it kind of hurt.
A giant crack split this road.
Holy smoke.
And emergency crews spread out looking for damage. Anchorage officials say transportation is disrupted, but overall, the city was ready.
The fact that we went through something this significant with this minimal amount of damage says that we're a very well-prepared community.
Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski called the quake extraordinarily significant.
But the size and the extent of what we're seeing right now is something that will require resources from outside.
More than 100 schools canceled classes after the quake sent terrified students diving for cover. Products crashed from store shelves and streets were littered with glass. Attorneys jumped under the desks at the Anchorage courthouse as pictures swung wildly on the walls. A series of aftershocks has kept the state on edge. Each trembler set off these metal detectors, sending workers scrambling for safety. Mola Lengi, CBS News.
And the Alaska Railroad has suspended all operations amid severe damage at their Anchorage Operations Center and unknown track conditions throughout the state. In other news, lawmakers will return to the state capitol next week in their last chance to pass legislation before Governor Scott Walker leaves the State House.
The date of the 2020 presidential primary would be changed under one of the proposals being considered. Rose Schmidt is live at the Capitol to tell us what else is on the agenda. Rose?
That's right. Republican leaders are trying to move the date of that presidential primary election from April to March, meaning the year 2020 would have 3 elections within 3 months. Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald says that move would help improve the chances for conservative Justice Dan Kelly to keep his Supreme Court seat. Local clerks, on the other hand, have said this would cause chaos in their offices because the deadlines would overlap between the 3 elections. Dane County Clerk Scott McDonald says voters would also be confused because they would be getting multiple ballots at the same time in the mail.
Well, not only is it a giant waste of taxpayer money, $7 million, it's technically impossible for us. I don't think the legislators understand how difficult adding an election in April, between April and February is.
The proposal would also change rules for absentee voting. Lawmakers will also vote on plans to guarantee coverage for pre-existing conditions and provide road funding. Now, Republican leaders were not available for comment to us today, but we do know that both houses expect to be back on the floor on Tuesday for debate. Back to you.
All right, Rose Schmidt live for us at the state capitol. Thank you.
President Trump is holding meetings with world leaders at the G20 summit in Argentina. This morning, the president signed a new trade deal with the leaders of Mexico and Canada. The new agreement replaces NAFTA. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says more work needs to be done to remove economic obstacles.
This is an agreement that, first and foremost, benefits working people, something of great importance to all 3 of us here today.
Make no mistake, we will stand up for our workers and fight for their families and their communities. And Donald, it's all the more reason why we need to keep working to remove the tariffs on steel and aluminum between our countries.
Mexico honored President Trump's son-in-law and White House advisor Jared Kushner with the Order of the Aztec Eagle for his work on renegotiating the trade agreement. Trade will also be the major topic when President Trump meets with Chinese President Xi Jinping tomorrow. Health officials are investigating after UW Hospital says issues with its hot water system possibly caused 5 patients to come down with Legionnaire's disease, and one of them died this week.
And according to the state's Department of Health Services, cases of Legionnaires are spiking this year, and not just in Wisconsin, but nationally as well. Our Madeline O'Neill joins us from the newsroom to explain. Maddie?
Mark and Susan, Legionnaire's disease is a potentially deadly type of pneumonia usually seen in people with low immune systems. It's caused by bacteria spread through hot water mist, like in a shower. That's how it's believed to have infected 5 patients at UW Hospital, where officials say a recent adjustment to the water system may be to blame. According to the Wisconsin Department of Health Services, the state is approaching 300 cases of Legionnaire's disease so far this year, Last year, that number was 181, and it's been rising over the years.
We're doing everything we possibly can. We're keeping an eye on things. It's just been an unexplainable year for Legionnaire's disease, and really nobody has an explanation for it.
The DHS epidemiologist says the fact that UW hasn't had any hospital-acquired cases of the disease in 23 years before now is a good track record, and there's no further risk to the public at this point. That being said, if you or a loved one were in the hospital for an extended period of time and came out with pneumonia, it is worth getting checked out, and Legionnaire's disease is often underreported as well.
Good advice, Madeline O'Neill, live in the News Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. Coming up, one man's love for animals is just like being wrapped in a warm blanket.
Charlotte Deleste is here with a special Do Something Good story. That's when Live at 4 continues. Welcome back. A colossal security breach has hit the world's largest hotel operator, Marriott.
It may have exposed the personal information of as many as 500 million guests. Company officials say guest addresses, dates of birth, and passport numbers were exposed through its Starwood reservation system. Some credit card numbers and expiration dates were also compromised.
All the info that a crook could use to spin up a fake account in your name. Guard yourself ahead of time. Freeze your credit. Don't depend on anybody else to do it for you, because nobody cares as much about your money as you do.
Marriott CEO Arne Sorensen apologized for the breach, saying we fell short of what our guests deserve and what we expect of ourselves. Marriott is alerting customers through email and has set up a dedicated website for those with questions.
Stocks surged today amid G20 talks, and that cements the best week for the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 in 7 years. The Dow Industrials added 199 points, ending the week at 25,538. The NASDAQ Composite Index gained 57, and the S&P 500 was up 22. Well, there is something special about a whoopee. Is that right?
Whoopee.
Whoopee. That's an object like a stuffed animal or blanket that brings you comfort.
That's really no different for your dog or cat. You know that. Your dogs have whoopies, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Sure.
There is a young man in Mount Horeb whose life changed years ago when he decided to do something good for homeless animals.
And as Charlotte Deleste shows us, he's helping them and animals who do have loving homes as well, one blanket at a time.
Good ball. Thank you.
Jeff Hopwood isn't here to bowl. That's not his thing. He's here to sell.
Jeff, do your thing here.
So do you have a boy or a girl dog?
Making blankets is his thing.
Are you looking for maybe a one that will fit for both? It started as a fundraiser to help raise money for the animals. Over the years, it just kind of grew.
Blankets by Jeff started over 4 years ago.
I have a small blanket for $15. All right. Medium are $25. Okay. Large are $40. To the next corner.
He pays for all the material himself from the 5 different cleaning jobs he has. And he, with his foster mom, Deb, shop for what they think will be best sellers.
We kind of look for the dog and cat patterns. And then sometimes we'll get plaids or things like that.
If you haven't guessed by now,
I really love animals. I've had dogs growing up and I had cats growing up.
But there's one dog in particular that ended up being a blessing in disguise.
We came across Blessing. His name was Ralphie or something. And he had 3 legs. When he and I met, basically, he laid his head right next to mine and I'm like, we gotta have him. He's mine. And from that day on, we were bonded.
Tied together like each knot on Jeff's blankets.
And then just recently, he passed away.
In addition to sharing his story about Blessing, he also shared something unexpected, something he wants people to know.
I am somebody who has autism.
You've really shown people that despite having autism, big deal, right?
Right. You can do anything you put your mind to. Honestly, I don't think there's such a thing as normal. Hi there, how are you tonight?
What is normal for Jeff is treating his customers with kindness and selling his blankets.
This one is one of my favorites. Yeah. Otherwise, this one is a really cute one. I woof you.
Because with every sale, he knows the money will do something good and be a blessing to animals in need.
I really hope that I one day could sell out. It keeps me busy with that, besides all my jobs. My money box, too. It keeps me busy, which is a good thing because it keeps me out of trouble. So will be $50.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for
nice
all the
to
work.
meet you.
Thanks for all the work you do.
Way to do something good, Jeff. You are all in luck. We should all help Jeff try to sell as many blankets as he can. This weekend at Metcalf's West on Saturday, that's tomorrow, 10 a.m., and at Miller's in Mount Horeb on Sunday at 9 a.m. He'll be selling the blankets, and then he'll be back at 10 Penn Alley in Fitchburg on the 8th at 11 a.m. If you can't make it to any of these places, you can order blankets on Jeff's Facebook page. It's called Blankets for Jeff.
Congratulations, Jeff. Keep up the good work. And if you know of someone, an organization or business doing something good, let us know. Fill out a nomination at channel3000.com. Do something good.
Still to come today at 4. What are you doing on Sunday morning? You might want to turn on your TV.
CBS Sunday Morning has some stories you don't want to miss. We'll get a preview from the show's anchor, Jane Pauley, when Live at 4 continues. Well, take a look at this. Dutch sand artist Suzanne Roosler gently shapes the sandy face of a shepherd with her tiny tools in the middle of St. Peter's Square. For the first time ever, the Vatican is getting a sand-carved nativity scene. In November, 700 tons of sand from Venice were dumped in the middle of St. Peter's Square. Eventually, over a 2-week period, the pile has been transformed into the complete scene, 16 feet tall, 53 feet long. The sand nativity scene will be unveiled at St. Peter's Square during the official inauguration and tree lighting ceremony on December 7th. It's interesting. The artists say it's very easy to work with because if you make a mistake, you can just put it back, unlike a stone or something.
Yeah, that's true. That would be true.
It's very forgiving.
Boy, that's incredible.
Yeah,
That'd be something to see, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be. It is Friday, November 30th. It's National Stay at Home Because You're Well Day. Now they tell me.
Why,
a little late
why
for
am
that.
I here? A little late for that.
It is National Mason Jar Day today. We celebrate because this is the date that John Landis Mason patented his jar in 1858.
And we have props for this one. It's International Sweater Vestival Day, a day to wear your sweater vest to work.
You have a lot of them, don't you?
I do. I have 14 different sweater vests. Now, typically on the air, you see me wear about 2 just because they're easy to zip up. But yep, I wear one every single day. I have since grade school.
Happy festival to you.
But this was a
Festival day.
compromise of his
This
in grade
was,
school.
like, as a kid, I wore a suit to school every single day.
Little kid?
Yes, as a little kid.
Full
and my
suit.
mom was like, no, you gotta stop. Like, you're getting your suits dirty. So we compromised with the sweater vest, and it took off. I've loved it ever since.
We should have
Well,
the
yeah.
14 days of sweater vest leading up to Christmas.
I need to call your mom. We need pictures of you in grade school
I'm
in
sure
your
we
suit.
can find them
Okay,
somewhere.
we're gonna get
Yes.
those.
I want to see all the sweater vests. Bring them all in.
Well,
we'll lay them out here.
It'll be sweater vest weather going into the weekend as well,
At
just because
least.
temperatures are going to be very cold. We'll have a chance of rain and snow coming up in our forecast. 2 alert days headed into the weekend. I'm breaking down what we can expect across Wisconsin coming up. And we do have 2 alert days headed into the weekend. That is Saturday and Sunday. We're going to start off the weekend with the possibility of a little touch of freezing rain into the area. Then on Sunday, we'll have a mix transitioning over to snow. Some light snowfall accumulation is possible. Not a big deal, not a huge storm or anything like that, but nonetheless, this could disrupt some travel plans throughout the area into the weekend. That's why we issue the alert days. Right now, we have winter storm warnings through parts of Nebraska, South Dakota, northwestern Iowa, southwestern Minnesota there. Then winter weather advisories. Those winter weather advisories come all the way into Wisconsin. In fact, parts of our viewing area, Vernon or Crawford counties, and then Juneau and Adams County under those winter weather advisories as well going into the weekend. But we have been watching this storm gradually try to come together over the past several hours. Not a lot of action on the radar as of now, but we're going to watch that fill in over the course of time. You see the bright cloud cover all trying to stream in through the central part of the country. That bright cloud cover just shows the amount of moisture and the amount of lift taking place in the atmosphere to develop those clouds, and eventually that will develop some precipitation as well. So here's how this system will play out. One of the things that's key about this is the system is actually going to be taking a track that is good for winter weather around this part of the country. The problem, though, it doesn't have a lot of cold air to tap into. Typically, there's a whole lot of cold air over Canada that this system can bring down, but this one doesn't have it. So it has to create its own cold air, and it's going to do that with elevation in the atmosphere. So this is a warm flow coming into town. Eventually, the air will reach a certain height in the atmosphere that it will be cold enough for snow, especially on the backside of that. So we put this on into motion. You see the rain coming into parts of southern Wisconsin initially. Here's the wraparound as we get you into Saturday night and into Sunday. But then there is a region of high pressure that will come in out of Canada, supplying the cold air for us to end as snow before this thing wraps on out of here. We'll touch more on the details from that in a second. Let's focus on what's out there right now. Here's some of that warmer air across the south. We're still cold here in the upper Midwest. 31 degrees is our temperature right now. We were hoping to make it up to 38. We didn't do it today. That could pose problems into tomorrow. But most of us are seeing those temperatures that are in the low 30s, especially with the cloud cover that we do have out there, along with the fog that's just kind of stuck around all day as well. Here we are. We expected to see a high, hopefully above average today at 38. We didn't get there. The warmest we got was 32, 4 degrees below where we should be for this time of the year. Here's the problem. If you stay cold overnight and into tomorrow, that could mean more of an ice threat. So we're going to keep watching that closely. But we've been practically below average all month. 24 out of the 30 days in November did see those highs below average. Let's go ahead and take you into tomorrow morning now. Now, the model is suggesting a low of around 30, and we've continued with our low around 30. If we drop into the upper 20s or if we are slower to warm up tomorrow, that could be something that we have to watch closely. The model already showing a burst of snow and freezing rain at the onset of this tomorrow morning. Temperatures mid-30s, we hope, but if we are 3 degrees or even 4 degrees too cold on that model, that could mean more problems. That's why we're going to watch it closely. In addition, we have to watch the wind potential. Sustained winds 15 to 25 miles per hour could mean if you do get icing, you could see a little bit in the way of power outages as well. But let's continue through the rest of the system. As things begin to warm up, we will transition into all rain, but as the system comes to an end, that's where we're talking some light snow on the backside, and it won't be a lot of snow by any means. We're talking less than an inch at best, but some of the heavier snow totals will be from the Dells on to the north. That's where anywhere from 2 to maybe even upwards of 6 inches can be expected. About an inch or less here in Madison. But in terms of actual precipitation amounts for the month of December, this is actually a lot of rain coming into the picture. 3/4 of an inch upwards towards an inch, and the actual atmosphere and the moisture 200% the normal for this time of the year. So it will be very moist this weekend and then cold as we go beyond the weekend. Below average temperatures will be very likely going through next week and beyond. Of course, temperatures may be struggling to get out of the 20s. Yeah, by the time we get you towards next week. So it will be cold, but again, alert days going through the weekend. Tonight, 30 degrees. Tomorrow, we'll see that mix of rain and freezing rain in the morning along with those gusty winds. And then You go into the next 7 to 10 days, and for some reason that does not want to show for us today, but I have it. I'll make sure I get it up for us here in just a bit.
We'll see it at the end of the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a reminder that Chris will be here throughout the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, so you'll be keeping everybody posted.
Absolutely.
All right.
All day and night.
And then after that, stay tuned for CBS Sunday Morning. We get a preview of this weekend's show. Jane Pauley from CBS Sunday Morning joins us now with a preview of what's coming up this weekend. Hi, Jane.
Hey, Mark, thank you very much. Well, Lin-Manuel Miranda, who created and starred in the Broadway blockbuster Hamilton, is about to get the suit out of storage at the Smithsonian and star again as Alexander Hamilton for the first time since 2016. He's personally taking the show on the road to hurricane-ravaged Puerto Rico. And this Sunday morning, he tells David Begnaud how Alexander Hamilton's own life was impacted by a hurricane. Here's a clip.
So you're doing a musical about a guy who grew up in the Caribbean.
And left because of a hurricane.
Because of a hurricane. And now you're going to take this Hamilton show to the Caribbean.
I know. Yeah, it's too full circle. It's just too full circle.
I mean, that's really something.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, because, you know, Hamilton was supposed to go back. They said, here's money for a scholarship, go become a doctor, and then come back. I never came back.
He got a little busy, you know.
He got a little busy with the revolution.
Yeah.
So Hamilton is finally going back. Personal aside, Mark, I think Hamilton is probably the best musical I've ever seen on Broadway.
Yeah, lucky for them, the off-Broadway show is coming to Madison next year, so we're looking forward to that. What else do you have on Sunday for us?
Oh, well, a whole lot of stuff. A lot of people would include among their favorite movies Woody Allen's Oscar-winning film, Annie Hall. But you probably haven't heard about the remake. My Annie Hall is a 30-minute version starring a 94-year-old making his debut, along with a 74-year-old woman in the role created by Diane Keaton. Both of them recruited and cast from a senior center by a pair of millennials. A story in a story, and I think you'll love it.
Can't wait to see it. We will see you Sunday morning, 8 o'clock, right here on Channel 3. Jane Pauley, thank you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, Mark.
I love Sunday morning.
That is must-see TV
yeah, it's a
on
great
the
way
weekend.
to start the Sunday.
Yep.
All right, still to come at 4. Are you looking for a good scare at the movies this weekend?
When we come back, we have just the ticket. We'll preview the new horror movie, The Possession of Hannah Grace. That's when Live at 4 continues. That is a wintry picture,
Sure
isn't
is.
it? Boy, it just looks like it could snow any second. That's a live shot from downtown with a little glimpse of the Memorial Union. A morgue assistant working the graveyard shift is haunted by a reanimated corpse.
That old
Happy
story?
holidays.
That is the premise of a new horror movie, The Possession of Hannah Grace. Rick Damigella has a preview.
This job is not for everyone.
Because of the hours?
Because the only co-workers are cadavers.
Pretty Little Liars star Shay Mitchell plays a troubled ex-cop turned morgue worker in The Possession of Hannah Grace.
Well, I got a weird one for you. Her name is Hannah Grace, and her family was performing an exorcism or something on her.
The movie was shot on a set and not a real morgue.
Yes, but it still had the elements of a real morgue. And they brought in, you know, real props, if that's what you want to call them. And, I mean, it played a character in itself. It was very eerie.
The movie features dancer Kirby Johnson as a reanimated cadaver. Her contortionist abilities lent a disturbing realism to her performance.
And there really weren't any special effects added to it after. She is such an incredible contortionist and actress that it was just really mesmerizing to watch her performance. You know, even when I wasn't in a scene, I'd just be watching the screen like, whoa, whoa. That, all of our mouths were just dropped. And some people couldn't even watch the scene, so that was fun.
Sleeping with the lights on in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Susan can't even look at the monitor.
I can't even watch that.
All right, happy holidays, as you say.
How about something a little lighter and happier?
Yes, indeed. Still to come, it's A Christmas Story, the musical.
Verona Area Community Theater is currently staging this holiday classic. We'll go backstage with Bruno. Michael Bruno will join us when Live at 4 continues.
Lots of lights going in both directions on the Beltline now. Here's the Beltline at Todd Drive. You see the brake lights headed towards the west, also brake lights coming towards the east. We've been watching that traffic. Of course, it's Friday. It's one of the worst days for traffic around here. But again, that southern side of the city, that's where we're seeing the most of the slowdowns right now. Traffic moving around 12 miles per hour near Verona Road. We get over towards John Nolan. It's coming in at 18 miles per hour. Still some brake lights downtown. Here we are on Park Street going towards Fisk Hatchery. You're going to see more traffic in that part of the area around this time of the day. But as you zoom outside of Madison, the interstates are in good shape. So if you're traveling towards the interstate or some of those exterior highways, just get through the Beltline, but you'll be fine after that.
All right, Chris, thank you. You've no doubt seen the video of Knickers, the giant steer from Australia, but he's no match for this guy, Southern California's very own Cowboy. This steer stands 6.5 feet tall. That is 3 inches taller than Knickers. Take that, Australia. And Cowboy weighs in at 3,000 pounds. And he's only 4 years old. He's going to continue to grow. His owner says he's just a big softie and he'll live out the rest of his years relaxing on his 75 acres near San Diego.
I think we need to put them side by side.
Yeah, I need a
don't you?
comparison test.
Yeah.
That's a big bull. And speaking of which, A Christmas Story, the musical, a musical version of the film A Christmas Story.
The musical takes place in the 1940s in Indiana and focuses on a child named Ralphie who wants a Red Ryder BB gun for Christmas.
The production is currently being staged by the Verona Area Community Theater, and our Michael Bruno goes backstage to check it out.
Who's ready to say uncle?
Ah! On every playground, there's a war taking place between the bullies and the wimps that they chase. And if you're part of the pack, that's always under attack. You quickly learn that you don't fight back.
A Christmas Story tells the story of 9-year-old Ralphie Parker, who lives in Holman, Indiana,
with his family, Randy, and his mom and dad. And so there's a storyteller, and he works for like a radio station.
And he frames the story. So it's all about him recalling this story when Ralphie Parker was a kid.
He desperately wants the Red Ryder carbine action BB gun for Christmas, and he's faced with multiple events in the crazy holiday season.
He has some challenges at school with his classmates. He has some challenges with his parents. He has some challenges with his teacher.
and all he wants for Christmas is the Red Ryder carbine action BB gun. However, whenever he tries to bring it up, he is greeted with the classic, "You'll shoot your eye out.
You'll shoot your eye out.
You'll shoot your eye out."
And he is always faced with that, and it's very frustrating for him because he really wants the gun. That is everything he wants this Christmas holiday.
When you're a whip, when you're a whip.
The musical actually follows the plot of the movie quite closely. If anything, I think the musical just added a lot more heart to the story. You still have all those really campy, funny moments from the movie.
I like the songs a lot. I really like musicals, and they're actually pretty similar, but they're both, one has songs and one doesn't, but they're both hilarious.
But I feel like it's a lot more emotional, and you walk away from it feeling a little more about family and Christmas and the holiday spirit.
And of course, being a musical, it really expanded with these huge show numbers in there.
Every moment from the movie that you love, the leg lamp, the flagpole, is all matched with a song now, so you can relive those moments in song.
Hold on to that dream. When you're a whip.
My question is, have you ever really stuck your tongue on a flagpole outside when it's like 20 below?
I have not, but my mom has.
And did she stick to it?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm going to triple dog dare you to stick your tongue on that phone.
When you're a whip. When you're a whip.
I'm surprised his dad didn't stick his tongue.
I know.
His dad is our very own Eric Franke. Michael is here. It's a good, fun show.
It is a fun show, and those kids are wonderful. It's such a great opportunity for them all to get up on stage, and they're all singing and dancing and having a really good time.
I saw a glimpse of the leg lamp, the iconic leg lamp there.
It's fragile, it must be Italian.
And so for the musical, they've attached a song to every one of those scenes.
They have. So the movie, of course, it follows the story of him wanting the BB gun, which of course he'll put his eye out. But there's songs and dances that go with all the different plot of the movie. So it's really a fun Christmas story.
Get into the holiday spirit. A Christmas Story, the musical, Verona Area Community Theater. Performances tonight at 7:30, tomorrow at 2 and 7:30, and Sunday at 2. Go to vact.org/tickets. It should be .org. I typed that wrong. Sorry. All right, next week.
Next week, West High School is doing a drama called, I had it in my sheet note, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime.
This is Madison West High?
Madison West High School,
Okay.
yes. First time there for West High School.
Interesting.
Yes.
All right. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Thanks, Michael. We'll see you next week.
And we'll be right back with a final check of your forecast. All right, kind of a wintry night out there.
That's right. Temperatures did not get as warm today as we would have hoped, but we are going to hope that we can stay warm overnight tonight. 30 is the forecast low. If we drop into the upper 20s, we're going to have to watch out for tomorrow morning. As that precipitation moves in, that could lead to a greater threat for some freezing rain. But I do think we get warmer air into the picture by tomorrow afternoon, so we should top out closer to 40. I do think we will go above freezing and transition over to all rain at some point, but any kind of icing tomorrow with 35-mile-an-hour winds, sporadic power outages, that's something that could be possible, especially as you work your way towards the north. Now, skip the 7-day earlier. Dave will touch more on this in a bit, but beyond that, we are dropping into the 20s. There are no days above 30 degrees. We'll have to get through the weekend.
Happy December.
Happy December, my second favorite month.
What's your first?
January.
Okay.
Yep.
Meteorological winter starts tomorrow. All right. Monday here on Live at 4, Dr. Zorba Pastor will be taking your medical questions live.
And film critic Will Loper will be here. We'll talk about the new movie, The Favorite. This is getting a lot of Oscar buzz. That's coming up Monday on Live at 4. Well, Lola and Louie have worked through their Thanksgiving food hangover, and they've been busy finding the best animal stories of the week.
And here are those stories in this week's edition of Lola's Lowdown. This week on the Lowdown, it's bath time.
It's a shoplifting pup
and one leggy kitty.
But first, a very rare zoo baby, a rare golden-bellied mangabey, has been born at the Budapest Zoo. The baby monkey, whose species originates in West Africa, was born on October 22nd and is just now meeting the public. The infant has not yet been named, nor its gender determined, because zookeepers don't want to disturb the newborn's intimacy with its mother. There are only 27 golden-bellied mangabeys in 12 zoos around the world, so this birth is a real rarity.
Splish splash! This video of a baby orangutan having a bath at a rescue facility in Indonesia has, of course, gone viral. The little one, whose name is Royal, was orphaned and rescued from nearby forests. Sumatran orangutans are listed as critically endangered due to poaching and habitat destruction, but for now, none of that matters to little Royal. It's bath time. Splish splash.
We've heard of cat burglars, but security cameras in Istanbul captured an unusual shoplifter, a stray dog trying to steal a garment from a clothing shop in a shopping center. The dog made several attempts, but the heist was foiled by a security guard. Security cameras show the same canine thief stealing a white